Hey there guys, for those of you who do not know me, I am Austin and I've been connected with Hill City Church here since the beginning, since the start in Clark's living room. For those of you who do know me, hi. So you guys are probably wondering why you're seeing this lovely face on this lovely Sunday morning here in April. And the truth is, I've done something I never thought I would ever accomplish. When I set out on the start of this new life path, I wasn't sure how I would ever make it this far. I fought through adversity from friends, dealing with past failures, and a huge fear of change. But I'm here to tell you guys that on this Sunday in April, I've done it. I have hit a full year of sobriety. For me to even be able to say that to you guys is truly a miracle. Over the next few minutes, I just want to try to help you guys understand my life and where I came from. At the age of 19, I began drinking and building up a tolerance, which ultimately led me to being drunk just about every day for almost 6 years. I remember at one point, my friend Katie actually described me by saying, you really only have two personalities anymore. You're either drunk or you're sleeping. And alcohol became my life. In just 6 short years, I dealt with sickness to the point that my body began rejecting food from all the alcohol intake, and I lost 30 pounds. One night, attempting to drive home after drinking all day, I totaled my car. I fell asleep on the interstate doing 70 miles an hour. I had to call my sister for her to come pick me up, and when she got there, I was actually in the middle of the interstate looking for my cell phone. Not a single vehicle drove by the whole time I was standing in the middle of the interstate. The next day when I went to look at the car to see just how bad it was, I noticed the right front tire was completely off the car and the right side frame was pushed back. Looked inside the car, there was an empty 6-pack and 3 full beers in the passenger seat. Only by the grace of God am I here now to tell you about that story. Another night, I tried walking home from the bar in the middle of winter in just a t-shirt and shorts, only to be woken up by the ambulance sometime later when they found me passed out on the side of the road. It wasn't until the next morning of both of those incidents that I was able to actually remember what happened the nights before. By the time I was 21, I was getting high almost every day. That led me to experimenting with and continuing to use a lot of drugs. Cocaine, ecstasy, Molly, LSD, mushrooms, painkillers, really anything I can get my hands on that wasn't going to kill me, I would try out. And for me, it was an addiction to getting screwed up. There was nothing that had ever happened in my life that became too much to handle. I just very much enjoyed altering my mind and disconnecting with reality. There were nights I'd go out and just to get as screwed up as possible, I'd mix heavy painkillers and opiates with drinking. And nothing was going to stop me. Almost dying in a car accident didn't deter me from this lifestyle. Dealing with withdrawal every time I was sober and heavy demonic attacks whenever I would try quitting did not make me stop for good. No one was going to say or do anything to help me out. But 1 year ago, after partying for 8 weeks straight, 8 weeks, my friend who had the apartment that I had been staying at took a road trip, and I decided to go home to my parents' house. But something that day was different. I got home and I went straight to my room, and I laid on my bed and I cried out to God. I prayed asking Him to help me. The lifestyle that I was living was killing me on the inside and the outside. This wasn't the first time that I prayed to God and asked for help with this. Honestly, it was probably the 5th or the 6th. But this day was different. I had actually began to hate my sin. I hated everything it had done to me and so many of the choices I made over the last bunch of years. I left my room after crying and praying for a while and drove here to the church to meet up with Brooke and a few others. When his girlfriend saw me, the first thing she said to me was, "Austin, you look like you haven't slept in about 48 hours. And I responded, "It's because I probably haven't." Without getting into any details with anybody, I explained to Brooke and his girlfriend and the other people that were here that I was going through a very tough time and I couldn't even fake a smile. Like, it legitimately hurt me to try to smile. The muscles in my face hurt that much because I hadn't smiled in so long. That Sunday, which was Easter, It was my second day sober. And I was sitting next to Melanie, and we were watching the sermon. And at the end of the sermon was a skit. And in the skit, Jesus was talking to Peter. And Jesus says to Peter, "Go tell the disciples and Peter." And Peter's standing there just super confused, and he's trying to figure out why Jesus is calling him by name. And after a few moments of trying to figure that out, Peter realizes it's because even though he's denied Jesus, Jesus still wanted him to know that he cares about him because of his grace, and that's the reason he called him specifically by name. And at that moment right there, it became so clear to me. I had been a Christian since my teenage years, and here I am, a modern day Peter, having hurt Jesus so much by my actions, but because of his unbelievably amazing grace, he still loved me. And at that moment, I began to cry so much and just worship him and thanking him for never having left me. At the end of the service, Melanie came to talk to me, and she still had no idea of what was going on in my life or my new life change. Again, I'm 2 days sober. And she said, while we were worshiping, I felt God tell me that you are one of his favorite children, and he's so proud of you. And I began to cry even more. Here I am, 2 days sober. Not sure if I'm just going to fail like every other time. And here God is telling me that he's so proud of me. I don't know how to describe in words what that actually feels like. To say I wasn't scared of failing or scared of what this new change would look like would be a lie. But I realized one thing: we were made to live in a daily dependence on the Holy Spirit, which is where I failed every other time. And here I am a year later to tell you that this last year with God has been more incredible than all the years that I've been a Christian combined. He continues to use me, someone who is still so filthy and so undeserving, in incredible ways. He's allowed me a new chance at life and has filled me with so much joy that where it used to hurt to smile, it now hurts to frown. I tell you all this not to give any glory to me for what has been accomplished, but to tell you that through God, he can and he will change you. It's scary and it's hard, but when you push into a relationship with God daily, you can do it. I just want to encourage any of you here today, if you are dealing with any sort of struggle or any sort of addiction, any sort of issue that's just crippling your life, and you want someone to talk to, you need someone to talk to, you don't know what to do, where to turn, I'd love to be that person for you. I may not have all the answers, but I know what it's like. And for me, Jesus is the only reason I'm able to tell you all of this today. Guys, I just hope that my life's testimony may help one of you guys, it may help some of you find the hope that you feel you've been missing for a long time. Thank you guys for listening.